Welcome to Italy for round number 9 of our 1955 F1 season in Grand Prix Legends. We're at Monza, of course, and this is, I think, one that folks have been waiting for quite a while, but a race at Monza, the big Monza with the big oval. And it looks awesome and drives awesome in Grand Prix Legends, so very excited to do this race. 1955 would have been actually the first year that F1 raced on the oval configuration in quite a long time, and this is one of the Grand Prix that actually happened in real life with the shortened 1955 season after the Le Mans disaster of 1955. So simulating reality somewhat with this one, but let's take a quick look at everything we've done so far in this championship. Looking at the schedule, it's round number 9, Monza, coming off our awesome win at the Swiss Grand Prix at Bremgarten, the nail-biter for me, just staying in the lead the whole time. And a pretty decent race at the Nürburgring. So towards the end of the season here, things are ramping up, but really just 2 races left to go for 1955, and everything is on the line for Monza. Looking at the championship standings, I'm Richard Axelson in second place there, behind Juan Manuel Fangio. The way the races drop with the point standings, all the grayed out races are points finishes that were dropped, and so even though I've had a couple races, at the Monaco Grand Prix and at the Nürburgring where I didn't score points, because of the dropping races, I'm actually doing quite well. And if I score decent points in this one, things are going to be really close in the championship. But Fangio has done a really great job, and unless he finishes poorly in this one, which I don't think he will, he'll be scoring or probably dropping one of those 6-point finishes. So he might end this season with a straight win percentage, but we'll have to see how things turn out. This Grand Prix, like I said, was run in 1955, and Juan Manuel Fangio won it in real life. Mercedes 1-2 finish with Piero Taruffi finishing second in a Mercedes as well. I believe they both ran the slipstreamed closed wheel versions of the Mercedes W196 during this Grand Prix, and I think it was the last time that a non-open wheel car won a Formula One race. I think shortly after they were banned anyway, but pretty interesting history. In our version here today, Fangio will be racing the normal open wheel version, but I think Kling is in the race with the closed wheel, so we'll see that as well, hopefully behind me. The race, Juan Manuel Fangio won. Was the last Mercedes 1-2 finish until I think 2015, with Mercedes returning, with their works team. So a pretty historical day. Mercedes actually, stopped racing altogether after the 55 season, I think in part due to the Le Mans disaster. So pretty much a turning point in Grand Prix racing, with Mercedes bowing out after the season, but going out with a bang and winning the Grand Prix. I want to take a quick look at the circuit. Now, this is the full oval or full circuit with the oval version of Monza, and I think there's a lot of misconceptions about how often this circuit was used in the past. 1955 was the first year in many years that this circuit was used, and it's kind of remarkable that they decided to use it, based on the year it was. This version, even at the time, was known to be extremely dangerous, and for this season, they actually rebuilt the whole oval into the concrete oval we know today. I think before this, it was actually made with like embankments of dirt and was shaped slightly differently. This is all stuff I've actually learned just researching this race a little bit. I always thought, I think like many do, that this was the version of Monza that first appeared in the 1930s and 40s, but it really wasn't. And it's something that came back for this season, as well as the Parabolica, the famous Parabolica corner, the last corner on the modern circuit, and this one. This was the first race that used that version of the corner. Prior to this, the Parabolica was actually a square turn coming to the end of the lap. So, in many ways, this was the first year of what we think of as classic Monza. And the Monza oval configuration was not used very many times. I think it was used here in 55, 56, and then at the start of the 1960s. And so I think 61 or 61, and then it was retired. So there was a few years in the 50s it wasn't used, and many years in the 60s it wasn't used. And I think it's in part due to the 1966 Grand Prix movie, where they did film it on the oval, that people just generally think this was the version of the track used throughout the 60s, but it really wasn't, and only in the first couple years of the 60s. It was used in sports car racing, I believe, throughout the 60s, although with chicanes entered into it to slow the cars down a little bit. And then by the 1970s, nothing was racing on the oval. It still stands to this day. I think there was a talk of tearing it down at one point, but luckily they didn't do that, and it's still there for us to look at. Maybe do some really slow laps around in some classic cars to get some nice videos, but otherwise totally abandoned and a relic of the past. 1955 though, we're racing on the big track, and it is spectacular, absolutely. We'll take a quick look at the starting grid for this race. That's the entry list starting grid. So qualifying went okay, but I'm not right up front. We got Juan Manuel Fangio starting in first position. So starting where I think he's hoping to finish there, the number one spot. We got Berra in the Maserati next to him, and Jose Gonzalez in the blue Ferrari starting on the front row. So good qualifying from him. Alberto Ascari and Kling starting on the second row. Ascari, of course, at this point, he would have unfortunately had passed away after the Monaco Grand Prix, but we've got him here just to see what that Lancia can do around this circuit. And I'm starting on the third row, Richard Axelson between Farina and Castellotti. So I got another Ferrari teammate to my outside and a Lancia to my inside. We're going to be doing 15 laps over this circuit. The real Grand Prix was 50 laps. I think it's actually a fairly quick Grand Prix compared to some of the other ones. So it should be interesting. We'll have to do a lot of slipstreaming, a lot of tucking in behind the other cars to see if we can stay with them and pass them maybe on the oval. The Ferrari feels strong within the oval sections. That engine's super powerful, but the Mercedes definitely has a handle on me through some of the slower corners. So it'll be an interesting Grand Prix. I'll take a quick look through the car setup since I know folks like looking at that. Not a lot different, from the normal thing I'm running. Got a 10-to-1 steering ratio just based off the wheel settings I'm using, and we've changed our ramp angles to be much more realistic, I think, for the time period, helping the car turn with the power applied. 22 gallons of fuel, make sure I last the whole race. So that's it for the introduction. I know folks have been looking forward to this race for a while, so why don't we get started with the 1955 Italian Grand Prix. So here we are on the grid at Monza. The flagman's very far in front of us. Let's keep our eyes peeled. Flag is up, down, we're underway. Whoa, getting a good launch off the line in first gear, but bogging down a bit in second. So we'll stream, funnel down towards the Curva Grande. Seems like I got a little bit of a slot on my left side here in front of Farina. Sat here behind Kling. I think I've got Castellotti to my right side as now we'll come towards the Curva Grande down to fourth gear. Castellotti able to sling it up the inside. Try not to do anything crazy on our first lap here. Flat out now on the exit, back up to fifth gear. We'll stream down towards the Lesmos now. Difficult corners in these cars. Down to fourth, down to third, down to second. We're on the inside, try to keep it tidy. Farina was trying to pass on the outside, but we might have Castellotti here into the second of the Lesmos. Not a corner you want to go too wide in. Not sure if I touched him there, but able to get the position. Might have just been the car getting upset itself, but trying to focus now on a very fast part of the course through the Ascari corner. Flat out with these cars. As long as you get the line right, not too hard to do, but there's no runoff on the exit right up to the grass here. And now towards what I think is the hardest corner on the circuit, the Parabolica. Brake just before the 200-meter mark. Down to fourth, down to third, down to second. Try to slow the car down. Castellotti was looking wide there, but I was slid a little bit wide. He'll try it up the inside, no doubt. Bring us out of what's now the final corner on the course, but we're just getting started. Down the front straightaway again, but this time we'll head towards the oval. Castellati behind us. A little bit of a gap in front of us to cling, I think, in the streamlined Mercedes, but now dipping it just below the yellow line. We'll let the car run up a little bit. Try not to scrub off any speed, but don't get too close to that Armco on the outside. Exiting, we'll dip just below the yellow line again so we don't slap the wall on the exit either. And down the back straightaway, flat out, straight as an arrow. It's probably why the silver arrows are so fast here. This track was built for ultimate speed. Now into the south corner, much of the same. Castellati looking to the inside with the Lancia, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it down there. As long as I don't do anything stupid, we'll come out of the high banked corners and back onto the front straightaway to complete just the first lap here. So it's not too many laps, 15 in the Grand Prix, but it's quite a long lap, although high speed. So overall, I don't think this will be too long of a race compared to the others, but a very, very fast circuit. Now I'm trying to spot the entry to Curva Grande down to fourth gear. Just on the brakes, maybe a little bit more than I need to be, but still, obviously, early on, tires coming up to whatever temperature they're going to get. Old bias plies. Fifth gear then. Castellati still right behind, not going to leave me alone. We'll block the line a little bit coming in, but he's going to sneak it up the inside. Ugh. Trying to get me back for that opening lap. So now we got Farina behind too. We'll make an exit here. Almost touching the grass. Sliding behind one of the Lancias. So losing the position back to Castellati. Now what I want to be doing, I want to be gaining spots. You can see Fangio way at the front. Now streaming towards the Parabolica in the slipstream, but not gaining at all. Try to block the way a little bit for Farina. Down to third, down to second. Wow, he's making easy work of it. And I think I got a Mercedes on the outside too. Moss. See if we can keep the position there. I got the better line on the exit. It is Sterling Moss, I think, hounding us, wanting to get up with his teammate. So not a good start to the second lap, but we'll head onto the high banks where I think my car shines. Green flag being shown in front of me, so maybe some kind of incident behind. It's now flat out on the high banks. I don't know if I want to go to the outside there, Farina. But right on him here, we'll see if we can go on the low side on the exit. Is he going to pinch us? Very uncomfortable through the high banking. Car slams around. It's pretty impressive they were able to model this in GPL with that type of bumping. I've heard stories that the banking was not very smooth. It really is just old concrete. Yeah, able to slide it up the inside though on Farina. On the entry, he had to let up a little bit. We'll come through the corner, see if we can maybe get it on Castellati as well. Right down to the grass on the exit of the corner. Slipstreaming working super well, able to jump these positions. Is now Kling in his streamlined Mercedes, able to make that work as well. Across the line, completing another lap. So making back what I lost on that last lap there as we got Berra in front of us now in the Maserati. Down to fourth gear for Curva Grande. Not much of a challenge from Kling on the outside, so able to take full advantage of the corner. Running a little wide there through the apex. Now up to fifth gear and set ourselves up once again for the Lesmos. Very slow in this car. Down to third, down to second. Looks like Ascari trying to get around Gonzalez there in front of us. Fighting is what I want to see. Give us more of a chance to catch up. Is now flat out past the chapel here to the right side. Spectators lining the circuit with just a wire fence in front of them. It's how it really was. Definitely got your eyes on the cars in these days and the drivers. Now towards the Parabolica, this is going to be the toughest corner throughout this whole Grand Prix. Just not able to get the Ferrari slowed down. Get a yellow flag though. Looks like there's a car, Mercedes, stuck in the dirt to the outside, but Kling is able to get there and make the pass. Castellati is looking as well. Try to wrangle the car through the exit of the corner and see if I can get back around Kling. And check our pit board as we come past the pit lane. P6 last time by, I guess that's what I'd be now with 12 laps to go. Pit board is kind of in a weird spot on this track because it's halfway through the lap, being closer to the pits. But now into the banking again. Castellati behind, keeping it low, but I don't think he's going to be able to get past. Although I can't see him, yeah, he's still behind. Big blind spot on these cars. I think in real life you'd be able to turn your head quite a bit further to see somebody next to your rear wheel. But I'm not sure you'd want to get close to other cars. It's now working up the inside of Kling as we'll head into the south curve again. Keep it nice and low. Making the pass, but just barely. Right to the outside. And we'll sweep it back down to the inside. So doing the same thing again as last lap. Side by side with Barra now, but I think I've got the advantage on him. And getting in the slipstream of Ascari as we start another lap. Might be able to get in front of him here before Curva Grande. Just before the 100-meter mark, shifting down to fourth, trying to keep it tidy, but car sliding a little bit though, making my way past Ascari. A very poor line through Curva Grande, but anytime you get through any of the corners, I would say it's a success. So now we'll brake for the Lesmo. Trying to not to lock up the tires. Third gear this time. A little flustered under braking, seeing Ascari switching every lane behind me, but somehow making it through. And now we can set our eyes on the prize. I've got Fangio and Gonzalez in front of me. Gonzalez in that blue Ferrari. Now through Ascari, of course, not called Ascari back in the 50s just yet. The corner later named for the man behind me. We'll work towards the Parabolica, but maybe on the inside, I'm not sure. It's right before the 200 mark, all the way down third, second. It just feels like I want to brake later, but I know from practice it's just not possible. It's just hounded from behind coming into that corner by everybody else. Trying not to over-rev the car on exit, but just need to get that power down, set ourselves up for the long, fast oval. Tip it in here. Around the high banks of Monza, bumping our way through across the concrete, pulling up nicely on Ascari here. Down the back straightaway, we'll be right in his slipstream. And slipstreaming was absolutely a big thing in the 50s Grand Prix. They hadn't quite figured all of it out yet, but it was absolutely one of the reasons this circuit was so amazing to watch. As long as you can stay within drafting distance through the road circuit, you would be there on the oval as we're pulling in nicely on Ascari, but it's going to block our nice low line a little bit, maybe. Dip it next to him, and now side by side, as we rocket past the big crowds of Monza. They'd love this. A Ferrari and a Lancia. Across the line there, start another lap. So through the beginning stage of this race now, things hopefully will calm down a little bit, but on this circuit, you'll never quite get away from anybody with the drafting. Now into Curva Grande. Try to do it a little better this time. Let's see if maybe we can get around Gonzalez here. twice, but that Lancia filling up my rear views. Oh, and the car entered well, but I lost the apex just a little bit. So easy to shift the weight just wrong. Almost hit that grass on the inside of a Ascari, which would not be good. Just going through Ascari, we got Ascari right in our mirrors as we stream now towards the Parabolica. Try not to outbrake ourselves, but I promise you I cannot brake later than I am. Down to second gear, car sliding a little wide, and Kling able to get by as well. Not able to get the accelerator down because Kling blocking the road in that super large Mercedes. Of course, the car which won this Grand Prix in real life. Guess I have to be thankful that Fangio doesn't actually have the streamlined car during this Grand Prix. I missed looking at my pit board that time. I'll try to get it next time around. Not exactly sure what lap we're on at this stage. Losing track. Exiting quite well. Ascari thinking the same thing. Do I want to do this? Right on the inside of the circuit, but there's no way to enter the corner like this. Okay, Ascari finally gives me a little room. Thank you. Just sitting in fourth place here through the fast corners at Monza. Coming out on the low side, making another move on Ascari every lap side by side here. Got the position on him. See if I can take a little bit better line through Curva Grande, but I've got Gonzalez right in front who will likely block me just a little bit. Nice line this time, but sliding a little wide. Car's generally a little understeery here. Might be because of the massive engine right in front of me. Hugging that inside line because I know Ascari would take it if I didn't. Whoa, but Ascari, is he making the outside work? Into the second Lesmos, he knows better. Backs out of it, but showing me he is definitely there in the Lancia. Whoa, a little on power oversteer on the exit. Never hurt anybody. So able to make up positions quite well, but as you can see, they're not giving them up easily. Through Ascari then, and now down the straightaway towards the Parabolica once again. Hardest corner on the track. Down to second gear, trying to slow it down, but running a little wide. Just keeping it off the grass there. Really up on the wheel. Kling and Ascari both trying to take advantage. I thought I had the car slowed down enough, but clearly not. Brake temperature here at Monza, not as much of an issue. So what are we going to do here? I'll let him have the oval fight again another day. Brakes here, not as much of an issue, or really not an issue at all compared to the other circuits with the temperature. You'll see the gauge is pretty much always green around here, the long straightaways. Although there's heavy braking into a couple corners, the straightaways are long enough to cool them down completely. However, the brakes are trash on these old cars, and so even with full brake application, the cars just don't slow down well. It's like everybody else got fitted with a little better brake pad than I did. I guess it would have been drum brakes, right, in these days, but get up the inside of Kling, rocketing around the low side of the oval. Quite a lot of grip, actually, more than I was expecting. Whoa. Ascari coming out of it a little bit as his car got upset on the exit, allowed me to take advantage and come around the outside. And it looks like Gonzalez got around Fangio too. which is exactly what I want to see. Fangio cannot finish second again and me have a shot at the title. Through Curva Grande then. Try not to ride the top of the rev limiter for too long. Worry about the engine here. Down in a second, tiptoe it. Around, I got Ascari, of course. Trying to get around me on the outside there. He's right there. Oh, able to slide in front of him. I would love one lap just going through the Lesmos alone. Been giving him the outside on the entry, thinking having the apex will keep me in front, but clearly he's got a quick car through the road part of the circuit. Now gaining on me towards the Parabolica. I'll try to keep the inside line. Hard on the brakes, down a third, down a second, and he easily just gets around. Whoa, I hit the grass a little bit on the inside. Car wants to slide around. Just every lap it feels like. Just barely able to get through there alive. Eight laps to go, P3. We're getting close to halfway through this thing already. Was P3 last time by, and pit board, like I said, kind of in a weird spot. Clearly P5 now. Whoa. I saw the Streamline Mercedes jump in front of me there, and I heard a little bit of a sound. Not sure if that was him or not. Hopefully it was not my car. Able to make the pass easily though, so he definitely had to slow down for some reason. Rocketing towards the south curve. Diving on in, lifting up the throttle just a little bit to get the car settled. Not too hard to make these corners, however, you do want the right line. Is now on the low side exiting here. Trying to keep it below the yellow line, give Ascari enough space, but able to make the pass. Is now right on the back of Fangio as we come to complete another lap. And making the move towards Curva Grande. Not going to be able to get all the way around him, but we'll try our best to keep a nice line through the corner. Throttle down, helping to turn the car and able to get around the Mercedes, at least for now, and working up to the leader, Gonzalez. Heavy braking into the Lesmos. Oh, I don't want to slide too wide, but able to make the pass for the lead. The fans cheering as their Ferrari takes the lead at the Italian Grand Prix. Oh, a pitiful second Lesmo. But staying in front, past the chapel. Doing better on the road circuit than I'd expected, but very nervous about this Parabolica coming up. Do what I can. I think it's just about survival. I know I've got an edge on parts of the circuit. The Parabolica is not the place. Just try to get the car slowed down so I can take this inside line. Try not to slide into Gonzalez there. He's able to make the pass on me. There comes Fangio up the inside. Oh, barely keeping the control of the car. I know that corner must be frustrating to watch. It's more frustrating to drive, let me tell you. So now we'll come towards the oval. Ascari got to get out of it for a second there. Maybe shifting up. I'll take the inside line and make the pass coming onto the oval. So setting ourselves up well here. Try to keep it low through the second part. Gonzalez bouncing over the bumps there. And a nice clear track in front of me. Unclear if we will hit any lap traffic during this one. It's not too long of a race, but with the draft, I think the cars stay relatively packed up for it. So now Gonzalez coming up to the back of me now. They've got the slipstream too, have to remember. Flat out though, car a little bit slower now that I'm in front. A little bit easier to keep control of, honestly. And coming down the front straightaway, the fans would be cheering. Come towards Curva Grande. Gonzalez right behind, but I'll try to take the right line. Down into fourth gear. Car gonna slide a little wide on me. Made a kind of a weird entry there. Oh, Gonzalez, I can hear him alongside. Hard braking for the Lesmos. Trying to keep it tidy off the curb. Gonzalez, though, rocketing around the outside. Oh, terrible line this time through. Seems like maybe a Scari got around Fangio too, which is ultimately good for me if I can keep the lead and get back to the lead, rather. Under the oval now through a Scari. Towards Parabolica. I have a good run on Gonzalez, but I don't know if I'll be able to do anything here. Definitely not. Just slowing the car down is difficult enough, and a car able to get around. Jockeying for position, no other way to describe it. Fangio was looking up the inside there. I was P1 last time by, P3 now. Just 6 laps to go. Somehow this race going by really, really fast. But it was just 50 laps in real life, so same percentage as the other ones. Not feeling too good about jumping down below here. Let's see if we're able to make it work. Right to the grass. Gonzalez then in front, but have the slipstream side by side then. Imagine you could really see each other in these days. Make a face at one another as now throw it into the south curve. We'll take it nice and low, flat out. That should give us what we need. Not able to really make it by. We've got the same car, so it would make sense that we're pretty much head-to-head, but able to make the pass. We'll lead another lap. It's like I never left the lead. So to Curva Grande this time, we'll try to do a little bit better of a job. Not quite perfect. Use that on-throttle oversteer to our advantage. Get a good exit to head towards the Lesmos. Keep it in third gear this time. Maybe not the best decision as we'll run a little wide. But I'll close the door on Gonzalez through the second Lesmo. Flat out. We'll see if we can hold on to any of these positions into the Parabolica this time. Gonzalez quite a bit further back than before. Just before the 200 marker. Not taking the best line. I want to leave the slot for him as he's going to try to work his way around the outside. Able to get alongside of me, but I'm going to have a much better line on exit if I can get the throttle down. Able to keep the lead for the first time through there. 5 laps to go then. Dipping into the first corner of the oval, Ascari right behind me now. So I think it's myself, Ascari, Gonzalez, then Fangio, and I can only hope that Fangio maybe loses more positions. Ascari's gonna look up the inside, but I'm gonna stay where I am. Don't want to swap lanes too fast on this high speed part of the circuit. Entrance pretty high. Corner the car, trying not to get into the Armco. As Ascari is down low, not able to make the move though. Coming to complete another lap. There's 5 more circuits. It's a beautiful day in Monza. How beautiful it would be to win this Italian Grand Prix for Ferrari. This is Ascari now right on my tail. Down to 4th gear, tiptoeing it into Curva Grande. Just doing a terrible job trying to make the lines. And Ascari's going to be right next to me now. I need to let him have that. So Ascari able to make the pass through Curva Grande for the lead. Put it down in a second this time. Some tire marks coming into the Lesmos, maybe from myself on an earlier lap. Definitely pushing as hard as I can around here. So Ascari in front of me, going through the Ascari corner, what will be known as the Ascari corner. Gonzalez right behind though, and that Ferrari right up to the grass on the exit. Down, hard braking for the Parabolica. Ugh. The streamline Mercedes closing way up. And Gonzalez right to my outside, but fighting back. Losing a little bit to Ascari there. 4 laps to go, just saw it. Have to start thinking about how I could get it done. Definitely have a lot of speed on the oval, but it all depends on the timing of where I am. If I'm not in first on the last lap, looks like I can slipstream past Ascari. We'll have to enter low here, but should be able to then sweep up very, very low right against the dirt, but making the pass, and should be able to hold on to it through the second part of the south curve. So now coming to the line. And towards Curva Grande. Have a little bit more of a gap, I think, on Ascari this time. Just need to get this corner right. Easy to almost psych yourself up for it. Long straightaways let you think over and over again, where am I going to brake? Where am I going to brake? You can't just let your body do what it would normally do on a circuit. And Ascari looking everywhere. I'll block the inside. Down to 2nd gear for the Lesmos. He's alongside of me. Able to make his way around. Car understeering so much through there. It's just a heavy car. Not the best I've read a lot about these cars since I started the 55 season, and the 625 was not the best car by a long shot for the season. The fact that I'm fighting for the championship, who knows? Who knows why, but it's very, very lucky. So I got one of the streamlined Mercedes behind me on the outside. Probably Kling able to make the pass. Gonzalez too, so falling back a couple positions here. See if we can squeak it up the inside of Gonzalez, but he's going to squeeze me down, and I can see Fangio in the mirror now. Getting the draft here. 3 laps to go. I was P1 last time by. P4 now. It's so easy for it to change just like that. It under Gonzalez here on the oval. High speed side by side. Exiting, we'll be able to take the line, getting the draft of Kling in front, but he's going to go side by side with Ascari for the lead. Thinking better of it, ducks back in, I'll do the same. Gonzalez looking low on me, he doesn't have a run though. Coming into the south curve. Kling bouncing up there. Not sure if he's bottoming out or something. Coming out of the south curve then. Side by side with the Mercedes. Got Ascari in front. Just going to start just a few laps to go. Not able to see him. The blind spot just feels so big in this car. Especially when you're always side by side with people. Rocketing past the Michelin man there. It's now come to Curva Grande, and Kling holding it on the outside. Oh, he has to swing a little wide, taking the apex from him. This is high stakes racing this late in the Grand Prix. Try to slow the car down. Keep Kling behind me all the same, locking it up a bit there into the Lesmo, but keeping the position somehow. Try to get a good exit through the second one, a lot of oversteer. Up through 4th gear then. And Ascari pulling away just a little bit, but I think I'm still within drafting distance, as long as I don't lose too much time through the Parabolica. Keeping my eye on the mirror, I can hear the Mercedes behind. I'll take the conservative line again. He's gonna rocket on past, isn't he? More important that I get the car slowed. See if we can make a pass here, past the start finish. Or the second part of the start finish. I think the real finish is after the oval. Just 2 more laps though. Kling able to hold me off entrance into the oval, but I've got his slipstream now, and we're both pulling up on Ascari, thankfully. Flat out down the back straightaway here. Kling's getting quite the run as well. High speed, probably as quick as we've gone. Gonzalez right with me too, and I think, not trying to look too much in the mirror, but I think Alancia, maybe Castellati has gone in front of Fangio as well. Now on the low side, coming out of the corner to the line. Just a couple more laps to go. Getting alongside Ascari here. So we'll head towards Curva Grande once again. Breaking down a 4th gear. Try to keep the car to the inside. Ascari making it very tight there. Gotta see how close I can keep to him as we head to the Lesmos. Side by side once again. Down to second gear. Try not to slide too wide. It would be really easy to hit him there. Flat out though, able to get around Ascari all over the track behind me. Trying to make sure Kling doesn't get by him as well, but making the pass through the Lesmos. Underneath the oval again, through this Ascari corner. It's Ascari all around. He's gaining on me behind as we come to the Parabolica, by far my worst corner on the circuit. Down to second gear, watching my mirror almost as much as I'm watching forward, but I have to. Able to make it stick though, losing the position to Ascari, but now I'm right in this slipstream as we come to the oval once again. I think I want to make the move, not going into the oval first corner, but coming out of this first bank turn. The high side a little bit, we'll see if we can dip it down low here for the exit. Slide right underneath Ascari. A nice move, but right on the dirt. Well, car getting a little loose there. Probably lightning with fuel now that we're towards the very end of the Grand Prix, but have the lead once again. Ascari though, looking up the inside. See just in my mirror, he's looking there, but he doesn't have a draft anymore, nor do I. So keep it flat out through the high side of the circuit. Ascari on the low end. And he's not able to do it, coming across out of the last corner there. Now we'll start, I believe, the final lap. Final lap of the Grand Prix, and it's all on the line. I've got the lead. Come for the Curva Grande. A nice low line there. Ascari looking towards the outside though. Up to fifth gear. Into the Lesmos, down to second. Try not to spin the car out. A really wide line, but Ascari was not able to get up the outside that time. Tiptoeing it through, holding him off through the Lesmos. Now, of course, have his own corner and the Parabolica. Flat out through Ascari. Holding the inside line towards the Parabolica, but he's going to zip around me. Third, down to second, trying everything I can to slow the car down, but do it quickly. Just trying to get that power down as now we'll rocket out of the Parabolica and towards the oval for one last time. Right in the slipstream, a repeat of last lap. I hope I can do the same thing. Gaining on him a little bit here. We're going to step out of it a little bit. I don't want him to have enough time to get a run back on me. So now, throw it to the low side. Hug the inside as Ascari have made it around him. Just one more big corner to go. Flat out down the back stretch. I should not have to lift the throttle at all again. So I can see him gaining on me. Do I go low? Do I stay high? He's not going to make a move, be able to take the optimal line into the last corner. And there he goes, starting to look low. So we'll come through the oval then, keeping it nice nice and tidy. You don't want to slide out wide. And I've done it. Coming towards the line, looking for that checkered flag. And there it is, winning the Italian Grand Prix for Ferrari. Heck yeah. Oh man. And that was an intense race. I hope it looked it from the video. Down to fourth gear for Curva Grande here. An absolute intense race. There's just no getting away from the AI. I see Fangio in front, so maybe he was able to get back past his teammate. I'll have to take a look at the results, but just on the cooldown lap here, just the slipstreaming in itself, especially with a 15-lap Grand Prix, you're just going to be with everyone the whole time. You can see all these cars all together, really, all the fast cars, the Ferrari, Lancia, Maseratis, and Mercedes, of course, all racing in one big pack, and that's why this circuit was so famous. They did not race this layout very much in the 50s, or even in the 60s. They didn't race it very often, but the few times they did, it was, if nothing else, spectacular and terrifyingly dangerous. So we'll come around. I'm going to come all the way to the pits. By far, I think I would have had them easily if it wasn't for the Parabolica, and I swear I was not lifting early or gaming it up at all. You really just cannot slow this car down for the Parabolica, and the AI just zip past super fast, and it's honestly, in practice, it got rear-ended a number of times. Very, very easy for them. If I kept this outside line like I really should to do an optimal lap, it'd be really easy just to get smacked by the AI. So I had to take the conservative line through here, give up a little on entry, but it all paid off. The slipstreaming on the oval, I'll chalk it down to some oval experience, being able to pull that one out. So we'll come around here to the pit lane and throw it in the pits and take a look at the final results for this awesome, awesome Grand Prix. Pit lane chock full of people. Try to find our pit stall. The crowd would be building around my Ferrari. And the Axelson pit sign. Get out of the car. All right, so taking a look at the final results for this one. Richard Axelson with the win from Alberto Ascari and Jose Gonzalez in third. Juan Manuel Fangio finishing fourth, so I think that's going to be one of his worst finishes. Somehow I could say that. Still getting points, but a few less points. Kling behind him and Castellati behind that. Two cars with accidents. My teammate Farina getting an accident, and Tarufi in the Mercedes, I guess, getting an accident. I guess that was that slipstream Mercedes I saw to the outside. And it looks like the fastest lap was by Lancia Villaresi, and he finished in 9th position, so nowhere near the fastest lap, but we didn't need the fastest lap here. So taking a look at the points, I've taken the lead in the championship with 40 total points. Remember, it's the top 5 races, in the end that count for points throughout the whole season. And so with that win, I was able to collect 8 more points and drop one of my 2-point finishes to equal out at a total of 40 points. Fangio dropped, I think, the 3 points that he got in this race, and so he's sticking with his 39. So somehow I've leaped Fangio from a few races ago. It felt insurmountable, but I've taken the lead with 1 point in the championship and 1 Grand Prix remaining. Sterling Moss and Alberto Ascari in 3rd and 4th there. And you can see Villaresi was able to get that fastest lap during this Grand Prix and pick up 1 point. I figured one of us at the front would have gotten the fastest lap since, we've been doing that all season, but he's able to pick up that fastest lap. So that's why I'm not getting 9 points for this Grand Prix and just 8 instead. So that brings us to an interesting place in this championship. The last round, round 10 on the original 1955 calendar, would have been the Spanish Grand Prix at Pedralbes street circuit. And this is not a circuit that exists for Grand Prix Legends. So I think we've got a few choices of what to do here. You can either race somewhere else that's comparable and be interested in people's thoughts if another track comes to mind that would be good for a race to round out the season. there's hints that the circuit might be in the works, and so we could wait potentially a very long time to round this thing out. Or we could call it a championship here and I could win. But any of those options, I guess, are real. I'm just happy that the Italian Grand Prix went so well, and I appreciate everybody for watching. Let me know what we think, you think we should do with the last Grand Prix. Should we go to some other circuit or call this one a wraps? But appreciate everybody watching. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all again next time.